job hop and see what happens. And everything that happens are bad things. Let me give you a perspective. So I had a conversation recently with two job seekers. I have conversations with job seekers all the time, a couple of times a day, 50, 20 times a week or more. And the conversation with these two particular people was about the fact that the salaries they keep getting are pretty low. And the reason that they get low salaries is because they keep job hopping. So let's talk about each person one by one. And let me give you a synopsis and create a story for you. So the first person I was talking to, let's call him Benjamin. And Benjamin could not figure out until he was in his middle 30s what he wanted to do. And he job hopped, and not only did he job hop, he industry hopped. He went from one industry to another. He was a salesperson, then he was a supply chain person. At the end, he ended up right now being a person in accounting, in financial accounting. So he practically moved into three different careers in a span of from he was 22 to 34 in about 12 years. And his question to me was, Dimitri, why am I having problems getting a higher salary? I have 12 years of experience. Why are employers offering me low salary? And the answer is very simple. You don't have enough experience. You have 12 years of experience, but you have 4 years in supply chain, 4 years in sales, and then 4 years in accounting. And you get salaries relative to having 4 years in accounting. If you stuck to one job, one industry, or one sector, and you were in accounting, if you spent 12 years in accounting, you would be making, instead of $85,000 to $90,000, you'd be making $120,000 to $150,000, maybe even in base salary if you moved all the way up to being director of finance or a controller. So what happened in this person's case, in Benjamin's case, is he was his mind was cloudy. He did not have a set purpose in life, and it really hurts you right from the beginning of your career if you don't have a set purpose and you industry hop or hop from one I guess skill set to another. It really hurts you because at the end, after 12 years, you only have 4 years in one industry. I think it's very similar to compound interest. Say a savings account. You put $100 into a savings account. Well, the next year, because compounding interest, let's say it pays 3%, then you have $103. But next year, it compounds on that 103, so then you have 3% of 103, which is more than 103. Let's say it's 105 or 106, whatever it is. I'm not going to do the math right now. But it compounds on you. So same thing with your career. If you were in one career and you stayed through it, you would have, with more years of experience, you have more skills in the industry, more skills in accounting for Benjamin, and then you would have higher salary and a higher bonus, higher total comp. So I guess the message for Benjamins of the world is don't hop in skill set. It really helps you from the beginning of your career when you're 21, 22 to pick a career and stick to it. Because in 10, 12 years, you can make a lot more money if you stuck to one career. So that's the first point I want to bring to you. And I think it's a point that not a lot of folks mention because they tell you to go for your dreams, and then you end up going into sales, and then you go and end up going into supply chain, and then you go end up going into finance, and you're all over the place. You're scattered, and it really hurts your total comp when you're in the middle of your career. And then you're shaking your head and thinking, why are all these folks making more than me, all these peers that are the same age as me? It's because you didn't stick to one career. Now, the second point I want to talk about is what has happened to a person I'd like to name Thomas. Thomas job hopped. Now, he didn't hop between being an accountant to being a supply chain or being into sales. He hopped literally inside the same industry. So he was, let's say he was an SAP consultant at Accenture for a year, then he was an SAP consultant at Deloitte for a year, then he was an SAP consultant at Infosys for 2 years, and what ended up happening is, in the last 5 years, Thomas had 3 jobs, or sometimes it could be 4 jobs, and that is a negative indicator, because when the hiring managers look at you and see that you have 3 or 4 careers or 3 or 4 jobs in 5 years and you are labeled as a job hopper, then they're not going to contact you for other roles because they're thinking, well, this person left this employer, let's say Accenture, and by the way, this is a made-up person. I'm not gonna give his real information. So let's say, well, he a job hopped from Accenture, and he job hopped from Deloitte, and he job hopped from Infosys. Then he gets to work for me. History is the best determiner of the future. He's probably gonna job hop here too, and we want people long term. So as a job hopper, you don't even know the opportunities that you're missing because people are not contacting you, because they see it on your LinkedIn profile and they see it on your resume that you job hop and you have a lot of open roles, a lot of hops on your resume, and then they just don't contact you. So it really hurts your career perspective. It really hurts your chances of moving up. What I don't want people to do on this channel and say, well, Dimitri, does that mean I should never switch jobs? No, I'm not saying that at all. If you have been at a place and you're stuck and you're not getting promoted even though you're putting in the work, or you have it's really eating up your soul, the work that you're doing, or you really don't like the people you're working with, or you're very much underpaid, yes, you should go to another job. But that doesn't mean you should do it 3 or 4 times in 5 years. Going once is totally different than going 3 or 4 times. Maybe you could explain 2 moves, but when you get to 3 or 4 or 5 or more, you're really in a bad situation. So, and that really hurts your career perspective long term. So I guess what I want you to learn from Thomas and Benjamin is don't job hop, because only bad things will happen to you. You will lose opportunities. And if you industry hop, it will hurt you as well. You'll be underpaid or paid less compared to your other people in the same job, your peers. Now, the reason people industry hop is they just don't want to put in the work. When you start out in an industry, a lot of the times you're doing the grunt work. You have to grind. You're doing the long spreadsheets. You're creating the Excels that other people that are higher ups don't want to do. But that's the only way you learn. That's the only way you move up, by doing the work, so you could teach other people, you mentor others after you to do it correctly. It's important to do it. So I hope you learned something from this, and don't job hop, don't industry hop, and stay tuned for our next video.